Happy New Year, Martin Bridges.
Happy New Year!
Yeah.
We can
And
still
Happy New
say
Year
that
to,
it's the middle of January, but I think this is the first time that we've talked properly, and certainly the first time that we've talked to the listeners. So it's
yes. So yeah, Happy New Year to
definitely
everyone who's
definitely
tuned in.
justified.
Yeah. Oh look, I feel like I've come out of holiday mode to do this. I did not intend to be doing it this week. I thought I'd have another week, um, but not possible. Too much to do. um, so
Beer was
yeah,
calling.
what did you have a sort of a highlight Christmas holiday beer, Martin?
Um, I had I had a highlight and I had a low light, as it in
Ooh.
one sense. My highlight was this beer that I'm drinking now, which I know is one of your favourites, which I don't know if the camera will show,
Oh
but
yeah. Yes.
is the Batchbring Polygamy Pilsner, which I think we talked about in the last show of last season as a real absolute standout, elegant, proper Pilsner. Um,
Yep.
so that was my highlight probably of the festive season. Um, my low light was when I think on one of the holiday days I decided that it was a good time to raid the beer cellar, and I pulled out a couple of bottles of Kraftwerk Red Bonnet from different vintages, and thought I would do a side by side of that. Um, and they'd been laid down in my beer cellar. And as I pulled them out, I thought one of these bottles feels lighter than the other one,
Oh no.
and it
Oh.
was two-thirds empty. It had
Oh.
obviously a very very slight leak around the neck, and uh, and
Oh, how
and it was
disappointing.
gone.
Mm. Yeah. Well, I thought you were going to tell me it had exploded, but that would have, yeah,
No,
would
no,
have been
no.
quite
Sadly,
drastic.
well, I don't know if that was better or worse, but the bottom of my beer cellar is quite sticky.
Well, interestingly enough, I have a red bonnet. I think one, maybe two, in my own little cellar, um, and I'm now going to go and check on it. So it's sitting there definitely sitting beside a chance like in Magic 2021. So yes, don't want to lose any of those, and they are laying down flat as well. So yeah, a good New Year warning to people to check their horizontally laid bottles.
Mm, yeah,
Hey,
public service
well,
announcement.
yeah, the highlight for me over the summer was we did a camping trip around the top of the South Island, and I say top of the South Island. We didn't tend to go further, but said camper van broke down, so we didn't get to kind of complete the trip anyway. And so spent a lot of time around the Marlborough Sounds area, but we started in Nelson, and so of course first destination was up to Rewalker to visit Element Brewing and see Jason and Monica there. And I have to say, Jason just looked so happy. Like, and my wife even commented, she said, I know I haven't seen him that much, but he looks so much healthier and happier than I remember. So, Jason, if you happen to be listening, I think I told you that when I saw you, but it seems like that shift south has done the trick. Um, and the beers were amazing, as you'd expect. I grabbed the first three cans that were available, and uh, they were in the 500 ml format, which is great. Um, the local lager was spectacular. So much depth of flavour, 4.5%. You know, you immediately think, does it taste anything like Longboarder? And no, it doesn't. Like it's and you know, he hasn't just taken that recipe. It's a different beer, but really elegant, depth of flavour, as I said, fantastic. And the Green Mountain IPA. Now, look, if you see that anywhere, I say get it. It's a real. He calls it an homage to Vermont, and the unfiltered IPAs that came out of that area, albeit with New Zealand hops in it, but as well as American. But it's very dank and resinous, and with this really long bitter finish. It was delicious. So Green Mountain IPA, early contender for beer of the year. So
Oh,
liked it.
there's
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
a marker post is in.
yeah.
I'm was so glad that those cans have started rolling off the line. I'm hoping that means that I'll be able to track some down. I am very much intending to get down to Nelson at some point in 2026,
Yep.
and call in there. But I am very jealous of you having got
I
there
know.
first.
I know. Yeah, and I'm glad we did it while the van was still moving. So,
There's
uh,
worse places to break down, though.
no, oh well, no, we didn't break down in Rewalker. It was in a little town called Ward, uh, between Blenheim and Kaikoura. Anyway, so it involved a sort of a trip back to Blenheim unexpectedly, which I lived in Blenheim as a teenager for a bit, and I mean it's changed a lot, but yeah, Blenheim is Blenheim. Um, I won't bore you with the details. Now, what we were going to talk about, one of the reasons we've, I guess, come back early or come back earlier is we wanted to get this episode of the first episode of the season out in a timely fashion because it focuses on three sisters and their founder, Joe Emmons. And there's a wee laugh at the start of this interview over the pronunciation of his name, but it is definitely Emmons. And for those of you who don't know, Three Sisters have opened a venue in Wellington. Uh, they're crowdfunding, I think, properly for the third time, and looking to expand their production and really just going from strength to strength. The numbers that Joe was talking about are phenomenal. Like they just had amazing growth on export orders, domestic growth, and a lot of it, Martin, you'll be pleased to hear, perhaps. You know where I'm going with this, don't you? Yeah.
My favourite beer style.
Yes, the smoothie sour. Honestly, like they now. I live in New Plymouth, and the sign outside the tap room now says, "Have you tried our smoothie sours?" Like that's the little that was the little invite to come in, and they have taken this kind of niche style, really owned it, and turned it into a bit of a juggernaut. And it goes really well overseas. I think Joe, in the tap room, six taps dedicated to smoothie sours or fruited sours of some description. And he's got 24 taps. So that's, it's a fair chunk of the offering. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I've noticed my local Pack and Save here in Auckland has got 5 or 6 of the
Okay.
cans of the smoothie sours. There's a dragon fruit one, there's a banana one, there's a mango.
Yeah.
There's watermelon, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're they're certainly getting out there.
Yeah.
And I think you joke. It's not my cup of tea. Um, um, but my wife loves them, so
Yes.
so you will generally find a few in our fridge.
Yeah. And look, I like to have one on occasion. It's again that same old thing. nice, but would you have a couple of pints of it? Probably not. But um, I think what I think is really interesting about what Three Sisters are doing is, and not just owning this particular style, but with the Wellington location that they've opened in the old original Black Dog Brewery that was subsequently became a Mexican restaurant in Blair Street, which is a bit of a foodie strip there just off Courtney Place in Wellington. Um, and when I was talking to Joe in this interview, we were sort of looking at the whole idea of Wellington and the hospo carnage, if you like, that's happened there. And I note that the 25-year-old Leuven Belgian
Mm.
beer bar is closing. And when an establishment like that is struggling, it's I don't know, it's a worry. But Joe's attitude was he spent a lot of time looking around Wellington, and yes, there are people struggling, but the people who aren't are actually doing quite well, and they're doing well because their offering is unique,
Okay.
different. I can't remember exactly. I did this interview on the other in 2025, so it was a while ago. But I do remember him talking about this and very confident about their offering and what they bring that's unique and different. So good luck to them there. It's it's a bold move for a small brewery
It
because they
is.
they are small. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a bold move. I think it's a good one though. I think, um, Wellington used to stand head and shoulders above probably most of the country in terms of great beer bars, and there are still a good bunch of decent ones, but that has been on a downward trend over the
Mm.
last few years, and I think that there is space in there to, as you say, carve out something which is a bit different. It'll be interesting to see how they go kind of so near to Courtney Place. It doesn't feel like
Yeah.
a kind of your typical Courtney Place bar. Um,
No.
um, but, you know, they, they have some points of difference. They make some great beer. It's been a couple of years probably since I've been to the new Plymouth bar, but it was a great venue. Um, Good beers, great people,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
if they can translate that down to Wellington, then I think they'll do well.
Yeah. And look, hand in hand with that, we have to talk about their shareholders. And one of the things that Joe said is they have a lot of shareholders in Wellington, and also a lot of people who sort of said, we would support you if you had a venue in our town. Um, and Wellington seemed like the best target for a venue. And part of that, as he notes, the perks that they offer for investors are really good. Like depending on the level you're at, I do have a friend here in New Plymouth, and whatever his investment is, he gets 40% off what he
Wow,
buys. There's also another
you
one
can
where
make
you
back a
whatever, yeah,
you can make back a good chunk of your investment on that.
yeah, yeah, and free chips for shareholders. Just stuff like this and there doesn't seem to be a cap on it. And so that's an incentive in Wellington. And so hand in hand with that, they're doing another crowdfunding campaign. And I just before we came on air for this had a look at it. They're looking for a minimum of $250,000, and they're at $200,000 with 17 days to go. So I'm confident they'll get over the line with that, given that this has been running largely over the holiday period.
Mm,
So, yeah. Um, but Martin, the other thing, crowdfunding is a little bit of a topic at the moment,
mm,
because there was news this week via the NBR that Behemoth's private crowdfunding, with their, like, going to their shareholders to ask
Yeah.
for more capital, has sort of been made public. And I don't think that was ever intended to be the case. But it's kind of laid bare a little bit of a, I don't know, I guess the state of the industry and the state that they're in, where they are needing to raise money to pay off debt.
Yeah,
So,
I will declare that I am a Behemoth shareholder through the crowdfunding rounds in the past. So I was aware of this several months ago when it was talked about before the AGM. I I saw the MBR article and I thought that it was quite slightly negative,
yeah,
and that is, I would say, I'm not to criticize journalists in any way. I would never do such a thing.
no,
Um,
yeah.
but positive, happy stories don't sell. So
Oh no, yeah, no,
so um, so I think it was kind of it was slanted that way. And my take on it is that, you know, Behemoth have had gone through some tough times, like every brewery has gone through some tough times. It feels like to me they are kind of they've turned the operations of the business around,
yeah,
but they've got a chunk of debt that um, and that's not a situation that you can continue indefinitely, and so that's why they've gone down this route. So I think I think it shows that even if you appear to be doing really well, and I think that Behemoth on a day to day basis are doing pretty good. The venues are all uh, are all doing pretty well. Possible exception of Wellington is a as you've mentioned is a pretty tough place. But
yeah,
I think that hopefully this kind of draws a line under some of their issues and allows them to kind of build for the future. So I don't see it in quite the negative light necessarily that it was portrayed by at least the MBR headline.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I did pay a sub to read the whole story, and um, you know, it's $29.95 that I won't be getting back. But it was, it was worth it. It probably didn't tell me anything I didn't know, except for the actual nuts and bolts. In as much as they owe a phenomenal amount of money. It's like $1.4 million, but they are a big business, and they're
Yeah.
hoping to raise that amount of money to clear that debt. And I think the minimum is 750,000, which would pay off half of it. But it would, if you were owed a lot of money by them and you were reliant on the shareholders stumping up the cash to get paid, you'd be a little nervous. And
Yep.
so I think there's some validity in doing that story.
Yep.
Um, I don't know. I'm sure they conveyed all this information to the creditors, so that they're aware of the situations. But yeah,
I'm confident that they have, and as
yeah,
I say, within amongst the shareholders, this is not a surprise. This is something that has been talked about for some time as a plan and as something that then has been executed. So it's not the sort of thing that you would talk about externally if you didn't need to. So
no, no, no. Yeah. No, so to be fair, I think what it is, someone had leaked that information, and my understanding is that the document involved quite clearly said was for not to be made public, and it's been made public. So, it's these things happen. It's a fact of life. There's a lot of vested interest in seeing how this goes. So we will keep abreast of it. I'm mindful the interview with Joe's over 40 minutes long, so we've been talking for 20, Martin. So, and we've barely scraped the start of the new year. We might have to do a second instalment of Happy New Year. But you've got a couple of episodes in the bag. We can talk about them out the other end.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I think we'll cross over to Joe and myself. Sitting in the Three Sisters bar and talking about their great plans for the future, and that their investment opportunity is still open if you're listening to this in a timely fashion. So we'll take it over to Joe. So I'm here with Joe Emmons. Is that how you say it, Joe?
It's Emmons, actually.
Emmons.
Yeah.
Joe Emmons.
Yeah, no one ever got that right. Yeah. Well, I think when I was at school, they'd always, can Mr. Emmons come to the front after?
Emmons.
Used to hear that quite a few mornings, but often in trouble. But but it's Emmons, yeah.
Joe Emmons, and we're at your Three Sisters brewery on a very hot day in Plymouth.
That's right.
27.
It's pretty warm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Good beer drinking weather.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But the reason we're here primarily, and we're going to talk a little bit history as well along the way, but is the deal that you've done to set up a bar in Wellington.
Yeah.
You're
That's
going there.
Hot off the press.
Yeah.
As that happened yesterday.
Yeah,
officially.
fantastic.
So
really what's the story behind that? What was the desire to have another venue, first of all, and why Wellington?
So we've been keen on more venues for a little while. So we've done a couple of crowd funds now, and we'll come to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But at the last one in particular, there were inquiries around, are you looking at, people were saying, we'd be interested in investing or becoming shareholders, but we can't access the perks. I feel like our perks are pretty good, compared to a lot of, many other crowdfunded businesses generally. I think our perks are pretty good, and people are like, if we can't avail ourselves of the perks, then we're not quite so keen, But if you're opening a bar near us, let us know, and we will be interested.
Okay.
So that was, I guess, a seed of thought, that's been growing.
And I'm guessing these people were mainly in Wellington?
There was quite a few. I mean, in a variety of places, but Wellington, it stood out in my mind as a place where people had expressed that thought. And I mean, we found, particularly after the last crowdfund, we've expanded the bar here. And it's been really successful for us. So it was really good. It's really improved our sort of revenue structure. And we found that, hospitality seems to be, there's a lot of good benefits to hospitality, especially if you've got something interesting, if you've got some points of difference. Which I feel like we do for some of our beverages. So like that's something that we can attract people to, and if you can get hospitality to work, it's great. Yeah. So there's that element, and probably the real catalyst was we saw the Fortune Favours venue come up as a possibility.
Yes,
and we were we had a good think about that actually. We were obviously way too slow because by the time we did by the day we sort of started inquiring, it was announced sort of garage projects were taking the site. But it's a great location, venue, site, all kinds of things. So great minds think alike, though, I suppose. So that's that was encouraging to us actually that the garage project took that over.
Just in terms of investing in Wellington further.
Precisely. It seems to be. I mean, okay, there's a little bit of doom and gloom. There has been, but when we've been inquiring, so after we sort of were got a little bit excited about the concept of doing it, we, since we've been inquiring, we've been finding that there's two sides to here. It definitely feels like it's sort of Wellington's coming off the bottom or something. talking to a lot of people there, across various industries like real estate and hospitality. It seems that it's not all gloom.
No, no.
And walking around, I mean, New Plymouth's interesting from hospitality. When I went down there to have a look, when I go down and look at places, there's a lot more people there than there is walking around in New Plymouth.
Yes, yeah. There's about 4 times the population.
At least I imagine, and you can see the people that are doing something interesting are quite busy. Hospitality managers are doing interesting things. I'm reasonably busy. There's plenty of places that don't seem to be doing well.
Yeah.
Either seem really quiet, but possibly the ones that are, maybe not doing anything remarkable.
Yeah. Okay. We'll come back to the interesting things you do that are seeming to become a point of difference, and this is the smoothie sours.
Yeah, that's particularly.
But
for us,
I understand for Wellington people in particular, and I guess people who have been following beer for a while, the venue that you've got will be familiar. And so you're in the Blair Street, which is just runs off Courtney Place.
That's right, yeah.
But it's the former home of Black Dog, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
But you didn't know that when you were looking at it.
Not initially, no, I didn't, because it's been a Mexican restaurant actually for about the last 10 years or so.
Yeah.
Ever since they vacated, and we saw it was actually the venue wasn't officially for lease as such. It was actually being publicised as for sale.
Right.
But we were looking quite extensively, so we thought, okay, it's worth an inquiry as to whether that's an option, and maybe we can find some way to buy it. You never know where we start looking at these things, but and we, as it turns out, we started talking to the owner, and there was actually an option to lease in the end on the table.
Okay.
So we progressed there. But in the discussions, it was like, oh, this was, talking about some of the features, these were left over from the Black Dog. When it was a Black Dog brewery, I was like, and suddenly the penny dropped, right? Okay, that's where they were. Yeah, and you could see it there. There's some great features. They've got a sort of high strength floor for rolling kegs in and out of, and brewery equipment, etc.
Yeah.
So you can see that's a good feature. There's a feature keg fridge, with a nice heated glass panel, so you can see into there. There's you can see the elements of the old brewery that was there before.
Yeah.
But the new owner, has actually made some really nice, tasteful upgrades. So there's a really nice. The bar was really interesting.
Yeah.
He was saying it's all made from reclaimed materials. It's actually a beautiful bar. The bar top itself is it's made from wood from the benches from the old athletic stadium when they
Athletic Park.
Athletic Park when they demolished it.
Yeah.
It's made from the seats from that, and then the structure of it is made from the conveyor belt of the old Griffin factory. All this old steel. It's fantastic, kind of great.
Yeah, so not much work to do on a fit out.
There's the fit out. That was sort of what was attractive about it. The fit out is actually really nice. Like I say, originally a brewery, then actually improved very tastefully.
Yeah.
I think all we really need to do is signage, logos, branding, and more taps.
Okay. Yeah. You wouldn't think of putting a brewery in there?
It's not a big venue, and there's no tall ceilings. So you could put something like a 1 to 2 barrel system in there, which is interesting. Just
to play around.
To play around with.
Yeah.
And have some sort of unique Wellington brews that were brewed there.
Yeah.
So that's not the immediate plan, but that's definitely something I'm a little bit excited about the idea of.
Yeah. And with this, you're crowdfunding again.
Correct. Yeah.
But that's to expand here.
It's actually to expand here. So we actually thought, just going back a couple steps there. We had our AGM in September.
Yep.
And we were talking to the current shareholders, and presented some of the ideas around. I mean, we've had a lot of pretty good news at that point in time.
Yes.
Revenue was up to nearly 50% year on year. We were talking to them about the possibility of the Wellington venue. Very good response. Yep. Everyone was, great idea. Let's go for that type thing.
Yep.
We said, okay. So the initial concept was actually going to be that we were going to do maybe like a little pop-up bar and just explore it.
Yep.
And we asked the shareholders for if they'd be interested to fund it, and we actually oversubscribed sort of funding from the shareholders to do that. In fact, pretty much enough to just go ahead and secure this venue. So we were like, okay, this is great. But the thought was, we would do a little pop-up and then crowdfund to do a full fit-out somewhere in Wellington. But as it turns out, things have gone extremely well in that respect. So we still, in fact, so well. And since the AGM, we picked up 2 more distribution contracts, one national, another international one. Yep. And we're just like, we need more equipment here. Right. Really. Yeah. The opportunity is very real right now. Yeah. And we want to be able to fulfill that. And the Wellington bar is actually locked in. Right. So we're going to crowdfund for more equipment here. Okay. Yeah. And you can do that because of what you did the last time around in terms of creating more space for the brewery. Yeah. We've got, exactly. I mean, where the old bar was, because we moved the bar over here, we've sort of been one. Sometimes, you make a change, you've got to wait and sort of see how things feel and how the place is operating in the new mode. We thought we might see times where we might want to use the old bar, maybe like functions have 2 bars operating. That's not something that we've really sort of seen the need for. So that area there is a place where we can put some more tanks. Okay. Yeah. And there's more room out the back as well for some more tanks. And we've actually got a courtyard out the back where we can put some tanks as well. Yeah. I guess for people who haven't been here, it was probably just a long rectangular shaped space, and now it's probably best to call it an L-shaped space. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The bar is L-shaped, and then I guess the brewery is sort of L-shaped in a sense. In behind it. Yeah. And so talk about this this growth you've had, because I think possibly maybe a couple of years ago, you were literally doing everything here yourself. Yeah. You had no staff. Or not many, not much. And now it looks like you've got a couple in your brew team at least. Yeah, that's right. So, and that's based on the amount of work that you have to do in terms of brewing. Yes. Because of fulfilling overseas deals, mainly. Overseas, and well, we've just picked up a national sort of distribution deal as well. Yeah. And that's just kicking off actually. Yeah. So we're working hard to keep up. Yeah. But it's we definitely need anything that can make the brewing more efficient. Yeah. Is where we need to look at. Yeah. So tell us about where you sell your beer overseas, first of all, because I understand Bangladesh is the latest market. Yeah. Of all places. That was a surprising sort of market there, actually. It just happens. Very good friend of mine, one of my best friends, is from Bangladesh. Oh, really? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I worked with him back when I was an engineer. Actually, I worked with him in Dubai. And then I've been working with him here. We sort of kept in touch, and he moved over here as well. Yeah. And working together here. And we've been talking about business opportunities and things like that for a little while. And he's got a good network over there. In fact, some of the people he knows, one of them currently imports beer from Europe. Okay. Yeah. And sells to. It's not a big market, but there's not a lot of entrants either. So that's sort of interesting. Yeah. So I'm not going to say would be the only craft. I haven't extensively looked to see what brands are available there, but we would be one of the very few craft beer brands in the world in Bangladesh. I would imagine, because there's really not many. Yeah. Because it's a Muslim country, so generally the population doesn't drink. No. But in the hotels, but it's also a huge country. The population is a few hundred million. It's quite compact, and there's a lot of people there, and there's a lot of obviously hotels. When when international travelers go there and they stay in hotels, people are allowed to drink there. So there's actually a reasonable market selling alcohol into all the hotels there.
Okay.
Yeah. And they were particularly interested, because that sort of Indian subcontinent. There's quite a people like sort of mango lassi type drinks, with fruited drinks. There's a real good match for our smoothie sours here.
Okay.
That's particularly what they're interested in. Yeah. So there's a container load of smoothie sours going over there. In January, by the looks of it. Yeah.
And that's you've also got a big export market to China.
Yeah.
But are they wanting those, or are they wanting the big IPAs?
No, they like the big IPAs for sure, and the big hazies.
Yeah.
But again, when we first started exporting, which is about 18 months ago, I think, the first order, they said, nominate a bunch of SKUs that you think might go well over here. So we got some, a range of hazies. I think it was mostly hazies, and sort of 5 hazies, 3 IPAs, and we thought, we're chucking a couple of the sours because we had some Super Plume. We were still doing the Super Plume series at that point. It was Super Plumes 15, I think it was, which was a smoothie sour. And we put that in the mix and sent that over. And they came back and said, your feedback on your smoothie sour is really good. Why don't you do a few more of those the next time? So the next time round, we were sort of, okay, maybe 30%. We did sort of 3 out of 10. And they were like, these are going really well. Next time, more. So now it's sort of 6 out of 10 is the smoothie sour. So it's about 60%. And the volumes probably 60% or even 70% by volume. 60% by SKU, but it's the smoothie sours now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And that's your new distribution deal within New Zealand, is it? Is for those types of beers.
For those types of beers
only,
as well.
Which is really, so how does...
Yeah.
Who are you with there?
It's Beverage Brothers. Yeah. And and the rationale there is that the beers they don't have much cold storage.
Right.
And we actually found, surprisingly, that this style of beer actually does better in a warm store than normal beer, because the flavors aren't delicate. When you've got a hoppy IPA or a hoppy hazy, the flavors are actually really quite delicate, and a little bit of time out of the fridge actually is quite damaging. Like a week or two in warm store is really not good for an IPA, really not ideal. But we found, for example, with the New World, because New World Award is we put the beers into that. They're sort of stored. I think they're ambient stored for a couple of months while they go through the promotion. And what we found taste wise, there's much less of an impact, because they're heavily fruited and flavored, and the flavors aren't as delicate as normal beer, if you like. Sort of tends to be. So so I said, okay. Because I remember, I got in touch with the Beverage Brothers a long time ago, because we were looking for distributors, and we did explore things a little bit, and they said, we don't have cold storage. So I was like, that kind of, it's not going to work. But we found, with these smoothie sours, it's okay. I mean, a little bit of ambient storage for a month or so. I mean, they want, they're going to move the product, so it's not like it's going to sit for terribly long.
Is there, when these beers first came onto the market, mainly overseas in particular, there was this whole thing of like exploding cabs. Not really seen or heard anything in New Zealand in that regard, but you don't pasteurize them, so how do you make sure that they're not going to re-ferment?
So,
sugar
so there's a concern. There's a lot of lactose really and unfermentables that are giving the sweetness. That's where we're sort of at with those. We, good control, good microbial control, and patience, and let it ferment. It uses a lot of lactose. Seems to be doing okay for us. There is a risk, because you are. What we find is that they're very thick. So knowing when the fermentation is really over, they're not. because we have had we've had a minor hiccup with some, but no, we've not had any issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And I guess what really, I'm guessing it helped you was Lush getting into that New World Awards. I think it did really well for you in that regard.
It really did. Yeah, we were quite pleased with the results there. Yeah, so out of all the sort of sours and this style that we've made, that's been our most successful. Yeah.
And it just brings that awareness to your brand and to that style, I think, because it's getting put in front of people who are not normally going to see that style of beer in a supermarket. Like it's not one that supermarkets probably take a risk on.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So it's good that that's a great thing about those awards, right? So we're given a platform for slightly more interesting beers to present them to the public and see what they make of it, and so that's been a great benefit for us. They've had a try and decided they really like it. Yeah, so that's good.
By my, I haven't gone back and checked, but by my reckoning, it should be now on the top-rated New Zealand beers on Untapped. But it's got enough ratings and a high enough score, but I haven't seen it pop up.
I'm not quite sure what the algorithm there is doing.
Because it rates really highly, doesn't it?
It's about 4.23 now with about 300 reviews. So that's pretty. That's pretty good.
I always thought you needed just a minimum of 150 to.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, we'll wait and see how it keeps popping up. So we're remaking it. So we've got another batch of it. So that's and that's being distributed by Beverage Brothers right now.
Okay.
Back out to a lot of the New Worlds and bottle stores. So
great.
So that should be
widely
available.
People come back for more.
Exactly.
I mean, I witnessed a lot of people drinking that through different promotions and things through those awards, and it was just always just fun to watch that mind-blowing reaction on their face and just lighting up. And totally not what they expected. And that sort of harks back to what we were sort of talking at the start in terms of having a point of difference. And do you think that's become, something that people come here for, know you for, want? Because I see on the tap list you have quite a few now.
I think we've got six right now out of 24, so it's about 25%. I mean, it's 70% of what we're making, but it's only 25% of the tap. So it's, and we've got a good spread of other beers as well here in the tap room. But a lot of people do come, and you do see people get a tasting flight, because we happen to have flights of up to 6 tasters, so you can have a complete tasting flight of all smoothie sours here, which is quite unique, I imagine. I don't know how many others. I don't even think Duncan's would have 6 at a time. I haven't been to their new tap room, so I don't think they. I mean, you've got quite a range anyway, like 24 taps. It's been great to have that, actually. I mean, I could fill more. Obviously, I mean, there comes a point where customers don't need more than 24, I think. But we do like to keep making different things. So we probably fill another 6, I think, at the moment.
And just coming back to, again, you said at the start that you reported to the shareholders, I think, that your revenue had been up, was it 50%?
It was up close to 50%, but we're actually year on year, I think it's 62% at the moment.
Wow,
which is really good.
And is this all the export, or is it happening sort of domestically?
It's the bar, it's the export, and it's the domestic. It's all of it. So it's all growing for us. So that's what's pretty exciting. Well, as I say, we're just definitely feels like more so than ever that we are at an inflection point. Where we're, if we can just make more, it's sort of sold right now.
Right.
And then you'll see, we're selling all that, but there's not much in the can fridge. There's not much online. It just keeps, it's, we're struggling to keep up. So that's a really good.
But I do note that one beer that's always on tap is your original Rain and Face.
And
that's quite an interesting beer because it's what started you off, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
And it still seems relevant, like it's still really tasty. Have you tweaked it much over the years?
Yeah, it's constantly being tweaked.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, the general sort of principle's always been sort of there, but we've made various tweaks. The hops we use have remained the same.
Yeah.
The malt, the base malt, has remained the same as Marisota.
Yeah.
We've shifted from dark crystal to supernova, Gladfield supernova.
Yep.
And we thought that was a good move.
Yeah.
And we shifted the yeast, used to be USO5 to Frothtech Buddy.
Okay.
So those are some good improvements.
Yep.
And then the way the hops are added are now is different.
Okay.
So we're it's just sort of in terms of what goes at 5-minute edition, and how we spread the hops out.
So more later editions, perhaps.
More later editions, and also we've got a hop gun we use as well.
Okay.
Which we use late in fermentation. So there's there's been some changes, but the general principles kind of there. It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing the variation in execution of a beer for what is essentially a very similar recipe.
Yeah. So for people who don't know it, it's an APA.
Yes.
And the reason I wanted to talk about it is because it started when you were, and I can't remember the awards it won, but you were home brewing in your basement.
Yes.
Were you an Awakura?
That's correct. Yeah.
So what was the story there? Can you just tell us about
it was
that experience?
Yeah. So it's kind of our origin story, I suppose. But I was brewing with a couple of friends, Ben and Charlie, who I'm still two of my closest friends, and we started home brewing basically, and an opportunity came up. I think it was the first ever Taranaki sober homebrew competition, which was out at Mike's brewery out in Oranui.
Yeah.
And we thought, let's set up something, should be fun. And so we just threw this recipe together basically with the hops and almost picky because it was early on in our brewing journey, so it was doing things almost at random, it seemed.
Yeah.
And the idea was you go along on the day. I mean, everything was brewed on the day, so you didn't sort of homebrew it and bring it along.
Right.
It was you bring your homebrew gear to one of the sheds out of Mike's, and we could select the ingredients from their sort of warehouse.
Okay.
And mill it, and so we all made the beer on the day, which was quite good fun.
Yeah. It's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it must have been about 15 teams, I think.
Yeah.
All up. And then we would take it away and ferment it at home in our sort of fermenters. So we sort of pitched the yeast, put the fermenter in the back of the car, drove home and crossed our fingers. And then we bought, and all the beers got brought together, finished and brought together, and there was a tasting day, and then all of the 15 teams, we scored each other's beers.
Oh, okay.
And the winner was announced, and it was us. So so we were super pleased with that.
Yeah. And was that an impetus to sort of do it professionally?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It was. It's one of those things where sort of classic Dunning-Kruger effect people are aware of these days. Is you go, oh, we're great at this.
Yeah.
The next 3 or 4 beers went terribly. We were like, oh, maybe we're not so good at this.
Yeah.
What's going wrong with these? And actually, that was also, sparked a lot of sort of inclusivity around. What's going wrong? You learn a lot more from the beers that go wrong than you do from the beers that go well. I was very invested in trying to figure out what's wrong with my process. Why is this happening? Is that happening? And it's, at least certainly for me, set me down a path of getting a lot more scientific about the beer making and understanding what I was doing. And I got really sparked some passion for the whole for the whole thing. I was already quite into it, but it just kept growing. And also what I found, people kept asking, a little bit of sort of, world famous, Akura for making this beer.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people say, when are you going to make that beer? When are you going to, I really want to try, when are you going to, so people kept sort of gentle encouragement, I guess, to maybe think about making that at a bigger scale. And it was sort of burning in the back of my mind, but I really should do this. And started looking into it and found that actually, to become a commercial brewery in New Zealand, there's relatively few barriers to that.
Yes.
Yeah. So you need your food safety license, and you need to talk excise, and you need to do, there's a few things you need to talk about, but at the end of the day, you can make it in your basement, and you can sell it.
Yeah.
Obviously you're limited in volume you can make in your basement, as I found, but, and you certainly couldn't make it at any commercially viable quantity, because it's definitely a volume, game. So I just started and just see how it goes. So we made one keg. So I started with just 50 litre setup, 50 litre Brewmeister, 50 litre fermenter, and made one keg at a time. And then luckily, one of the local restaurants was keen to take a keg. So
where was that?
That was, it was out in Okura, and it was called Peking Panda.
Okay.
Which was run by, guys called AJ and Mark. AJ is now the hospitality director at Shining Peak. Yeah. And so we knew AJ and Mark because they own the Hourglass as well. I used to drink in there regularly. They always had a few good craft beer taps. So Ben and I, particularly after work, 'cause we worked together, so we'd go to the Hourglass and have a chat with AJ and Mark after work very regularly. So when we happened to have a keg that we'd made, and we were in Peking Panda, and they ran out of beer, and we were like, well, hey, we happen to have a keg we could put on right now. And they were like, sure, well, why don't you go get it? So we grabbed it, put it on. Probably drank most of it ourselves that night, and the joy of drinking your own home brew and paying for the privilege. But it was great. Quite a buzz. And definitely hooked. Definitely hooked into doing it again. Yeah. So there was two ways of looking at that. I think Ben and Charlie were a bit like, hang on a minute. We're paying, well, it was not cheaper back then, but say the equivalent of $14 a pint these days to drink our own homebrew. I'm not sure this is for us. So I was like, no, I'm sure I've got something here. I'm going to keep going. So I just kept going with it, and that was it. I think I was brewing every weekend and selling these small quantities for ever since then. I never stopped. After that.
And so how long ago was that, roughly?
So that was 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when did you move in here?
We moved in here in 2020
Okay. So
a 3-year journey from there.
Yeah.
I got bigger in the basement, so we went from the 50 litre setup. I had a 300 litre setup in the basement. Yeah. So that's still definitely not economical. No. But still fun. But at least I could make 5 or 6 kegs at a time. Yeah. And that made a lot more sense. And I had the bottling machine, and we do some bottling. Okay. And get that out. And it was part of the fun part early on was how you create a brand, and it kind of grows organically, Yeah. So putting out a little bit of beer, and then all of a sudden you get a phone call from someone in Christchurch. Hey, can we stock your beer? And you're like, well, that's how cool. Where did you hear about us? Oh, someone was up there and at the Peking Panda and having a beer, and they thought it was great, and they said, oh, you should get that beer. And so that word of mouth thing, the way it grows organically is a really great, beautiful thing, really. Yeah.
And you mentioned that you were an engineer. I'm guessing you came here to work sort of in the oil and gas
that's correct.
Industry.
Yeah, that's right.
In some ways, you probably timed your exit from that.
Seems to be, seems to be. Yeah. So,
but I'm guessing no regrets.
No regrets. I mean, it's been bloody hard work, a lot harder work than I anticipated. Yeah. I kind of thought, do this for a couple of years and then it'll be paying my wages. But I was having to work and work. Even when I moved in here, I was still working. It's only the last 18 months I've not not been working as an engineer, really. Yeah. So, it was surprising the volume you need to get to kind of have a self-sustaining brewery. I was probably could have done a bit more research about that before I started. But if I had started, I probably wouldn't have started if I knew how big I had to get it. I might not have been convinced I was going to get there. So sometimes you have to, let's say, jump out the plane and make the parachute on the way down. Type thing. That's definitely what we've done here.
So how many litres per annum would you be making now?
It's always hard to say because it keeps sort of, obviously it fluctuates and grows. It's about 150 to 200 right now.
Yeah, so you're still a small brewery.
We're still a small brewery. I would say at the rate we're sort of brewing right now, we're definitely pushing in the medium. I think we'll make 300,000 litres this sort of next year. We have to stage to the Brewers Guild, for example, what we consider ourselves to be for membership. I think this year we'll probably expect to be a medium brewery.
Okay.
But the cutover is at 200,000.
And of course, I think that's reflected. How many times did you win that champion small brewery?
So
in Australia?
Twice in Australia. And although I think the cutoff for small is much bigger over there, it might be 500,000 litres over there. And here it's 200, and we won the small one once. A few years back.
So that's quite a good track record of awards. And in particular, in Australia, you've done really well. Without a doubt. But did you? I think you didn't enter this year.
We entered the Australian, and we didn't enter the Brewers Guild, and the reason being just been really busy. It is, and it's something that I felt, kind of you want to put your best foot forward, obviously, and align. Previously, we'd sort of made some effort to align the beers to be fresh as possible for the awards. And I think to win a trophy, you need to do a little bit of that. You need to sort of think, well, let's brew this here, and you sort of align your brew schedule a little bit to give yourself the best chance of that. And this year, I didn't feel like I had any choice in my brewing schedule. It was just flat out for China, mostly smoothie sours. Beer judges are not typically. I mean, the New World's a great one because it's a little bit more oriented towards what the public. There's an element of what might the public like, I think, in the judging them, as opposed to you find in the the Brewers Guild and the Australian, it's a bit more of a purists judging.
More technical.
A bit more technical, and I mean, the feedback you get from an international beer judge, typically on a smoothie sour, is this isn't beer. Type of thing. It depends. It very much depends on who you get. It's very divisive. So you can see the notes, because these days you get good compilations of notes from these competitions, which is great. And you can see the polarization among beer judges for that sort of a style. But I didn't feel that, given that was the majority of the beers I had to put in, that they were going to, and it's an expensive thing to do, actually. Really.
But I'm surprised, anyway, it's probably a little bit off the topic, that good judges can't see that these types of beers exist and that people like them. I mean, after all, people have been adding things to beer since whenever.
True.
Maybe not in Germany, 1500-ish.
Well, we'll try again. We'll try again this year. Next year in the awards and see how we go. There might be a softening of that approach.
With the smoothie sours, I just want to finish off on them really, because they have become such a thing. It's such a thing for you. And I'm wondering about if you can gauge your customer for it. Is it the person, maybe like me, who's been a craft beer enthusiast and who always wants to try something different?
Yes.
Or are you getting a whole new audience
It's really, that's what's kind of interesting and kind of exciting a little bit for us, is that it is quite a wide, it seems to be quite a wide variety of people. So you've got certainly, I mean, also, it's a lot of females, that are, that don't think of themselves as beer drinkers, and they come along and they're like, oh, why don't you try this?
Yeah.
They said, oh, I like cider, I'm not really into beer. We go, oh, we'll try that. And they're like, oh, actually, this is actually really interesting. And I was right to say women, because I get men as well, obviously, that say the same thing.
Yeah.
But it does tend to be a little bit more from the females. But I also feel like, I want to say quite, is it Gen Z? But there's because there's this trend from Gen Z towards possibly more RTDs and a little bit away from beer. And I think that's sort of happening internationally. And you could say that these smoothie sours, they're almost on the far, if there was a sort of beer spectrum, that went over and merged with RTDs, that would be on that end of the spectrum there. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
So,
so younger drinkers.
Yeah, possibly younger drinkers, seem to be interested.
Yeah.
And also we make some, our RTDs is what we do, make some, hand squeezed lemonade, which is we can't keep up with as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and our hard ginger beer goes on really well as well. So,
and I see you've got a non-alc now, limited system.
Correct. Yeah.
And you're brewing that here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's made in house. Yeah.
So how do you go again for that in terms of looking after it, I suppose, because you don't pasteurize?
No, we don't pasteurize. So, I mean, we got a good microbial control, it seems. We haven't had any issues. With that one.
Yeah.
And I mean, sort of careful brewing techniques. I've not had any issues with it. So
and keep it chilled. And
we're keeping it chilled here.
Yeah.
So that seems to be okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just because we find, most of these get brewed at one of the big breweries.
Might be flash
got the
pasteurized.
processes down pat,
Well, I think they might flash pasteurize, but I don't know how many of them in package pasteurize. I'm not sure how many do that actually, but flash pasteurization helps, but you still have to package it after that. So there's still that issue.
And you're not packaging this; it's keg only, isn't it?
Yeah, it's keg only at the moment. So we might rethink how we do things if we go with the cans there, which we're planning to.
Okay.
So we'll have a look at that. I mean, you've got there's isomerized alpha acids. There's some IBUs there which are going to protect against sort of lactobacillus and things.
Yeah.
Because which is probably the main concern really about that sort of beer style.
Yep.
Yeah, because there's other microbes that don't like alcohol. But I mean, so far so good.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's been fascinating. And great achievement in getting a second venue open. We'll probably be going to air in the new year with the site. I'm assuming you'll be open late 2025.
No, it will be in January. Yeah. So we made the agreement, but we don't take possession till the 5th of January.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. And there's not much to do fit out wise, but I think we might need a week or two. So provisionally, I'm thinking 16th of January, something like that at the moment.
Yep. Well, we may well be able to time this to perfection.
That would be good.
Yeah. Awesome. And I guess you've got to hire staff because. Or are you going to do some commuting?
I'll need to be doing some commuting, but I mean just to oversee. But we're hoping, for a transition with the business. We'll see how it goes. I mean, we're in discussion with the current owner, of the Mexican restaurant, that it is now around seeing how many of the staff we can transition as well.
Okay.
If they'll be interested. So we'll see how that
Okay.
goes. But the plan would be to kind of transition that.
Okay.
Which would be nice, of course.
Yeah. And a food offering, will it be similar to what you do here?
It would be similar to what we do here, I think, to try and get some sort of consistency. But we'll probably
very good tacos.
Wellington twist on it.
Yeah.
Well, the Mexican, their company does all the tacos, so there's actually quite a lot of similarities. In the food offering. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck with it, Joe. And thanks so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you, Michael.
All right. Appreciate it.
Yeah, cheers.
Okay, Martin, does that make you want to go and buy some more smoothie sours, hearing Joe's energy around them? No.
Maybe. I do enjoy. I think like you. If my wife opens one, I'll be interested in sampling it. Look, I think it. The thing that really impresses me about Three Sisters is the range of
yes, that's
of
a really
beer,
good point. Yeah,
that they produce, and I think obviously you kind of touched on some of those other styles through the interview, but I'm a real fan of their English bitter.
Yeah. Ernie's Bitter. Ernie's Bitter.
Ernie's Bitter, the evolving series of Ernie's Bitters. And when I was last down there, I was a big fan of their barley wine, the awesomely named I Am Not Well.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think it's great that they can make these crazy lactose heavy, fruit heavy, smoothie sour type things. They can make a great IPA. They can make an English bitter. They can make a barley wine.
Yeah, and honestly,
that's talent.
Yeah, I had an excellent Rewalker hopped Pilsner there the other night, and the Rain and Face APA, which is their original. And it's not their flagship beer anymore. It's their original beer for sure, that won a home brew competition down here and kind of helped launch the brewery. Really good APA. But Owakura Blonde is probably their flagship beer now, the blonde ale with the surfer girl on the packaging. And they've just put that in 6-packs. It's their first venture into 6-packs, which is another interesting sign around the state of the industry. And I did want to just round back to the Behemoth part of that discussion. And it sort of ties in with this a little bit, because one thing that they have been doing is moving not away from 6-packs, but they are really pushing those 440ml cans. And this is becoming a real trend in the industry now, because there's such good margin in 440ml cans. And I think this age of the 6-pack, which kind of dominated beer for such a long time in terms of the supermarket offering, has become a secondary thing because the margins aren't so great.
I agree. I think Andrew Charles at Behemoth has said for some time, the focus is the 440s. They can make one of my favorite beers from Behemoth at the moment. That is the core range is their Porch Pounder APA. So American Pale Ale, done in collaboration with Peaches Hot Chicken and Auckland Icon, and it's just a super smashable beer, and you can get it for like $5-6 at the supermarket. And they can make good margin on that. So it's a change. It's back to the back.
I know.
I remember in the early days of craft beer that there were problems. I remember there being problems with the single can rules. That supermarkets would refuse to sell singles for and they were
Yeah,
that was through licensing cracking down on that led to problem drinking, were the people buying single cans, because that was people buying single cans of like Tennant's Super at 11% or
yeah,
whatever.
yes,
But that caught up the craft beer people who were wanting a can of Epic Armageddon or
yeah,
a you know um, and now we went through the six pack days and the mixed sixes and so on, and now we're kind of circling back round to the single cans.
yeah, yeah. No, it is interesting how there's a return to that, and I've seen it in like Lake Man is one that's really stood out for me, where they've got beers like Hairy Hop and Big Hairy that used to come in either the mixed six pack or their own six packs, 330 ml cans, and even their really good Pilsner, all now available in 440s. And
Yep.
you know, it will be interesting to see, if I don't know, someone like Parrot Dog would take Thunderbird and put it in 440 ml cans, or whether they are wedded to that model that they're in.
Did a
And
bitch
maybe
back
they
in
just
440s. Come on, we can do it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And there are others that the garage projects say with pernicious weed and party and bullshit, where you have the option. There's
Yeah,
multi packs in the smaller size single bigs. Yeah, it is a really interesting time to go back to those single offerings. And of course, it was 500 ml bottles in the day,
it
and
was.
now it's
It
440
was.
ml cans. But yeah, and the prices have just come down so much. When you think back, those 500 ml bottles were like $10 or $11,
Yeah,
and if you adjusted for inflation, what would that $10 or $11 in 2015 would be? A reasonable amount now, $13, $14 perhaps, and yet
yeah,
you're
yeah.
getting a 440 ml can, as you say, for six
Five,
bucks,
6 bucks.
and yeah, and breweries are still making money. So it's kind of a win-win. So,
Yeah, I think if that helps, if that helps breweries flourish, I'm all for it. And to be honest, I rarely buy six packs. I buy the time I buy six packs is when I'm going to a party or something, and I want to take
okay,
a six pack with me. If
yeah,
I'm if I'm just buying for myself at home, I will generally buy singles.
yeah,
Maybe a couple of each, just in case I really like one of them and I want to have another one. But
yeah.
um, yeah, I think
Well, I understand where you're coming from, and this what I did this week would be typical of me. Um, I ordered a six pack of Miami Brute Lager from Urbanaut and a single bottle of the triple version of Copacabana.
the
So
750.
yeah, and to me that's I'm gonna have to share that with somebody. Like I ain't drinking that by myself. But it'll be in the previous week it was, or not the previous week, but the previous order was a six pack of McLeod's Longboard Lager and a Forest of Giants, or whatever
Yeah,
else
yeah,
was Northland Chic might have been one of them. So
yep.
that kind of combo. Yeah, that's how I like to do my shopping. So I do like a six pack still.
Yeah.
Just that
I
it's
did over
quite nice to have.
Christmas. It was good
Yeah,
to kind of have a few of those in for visitors, or if I just fancied like a small beer at lunchtime, or it was good. So yeah, I had some longboarder in the fridge. Um, um, so, but yeah, it's
yeah,
generally
um,
singles is my go to. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
interesting.
It is. It is. We'll sign off now because we're dragging out the time. so, well, you're all on holiday, so you can afford to listen to us for longer. But coming up, you've been to the Bay of Plenty and visited a couple of
I
interesting
have.
breweries down there.
I did. So I just before Christmas, I took a day trip, well, a couple of days, down to the Bay of Plenty and called in on Neck of the Woods, which is a new brew pub opened by Scott Taylor and his partners.
Yep,
Scott, people may remember as one of the founders of Deep Creek.
Deep
Was
Creek. Yep,
involved in
and he was the
when
he was the face of that brewery, the public face, I guess.
and
Yeah,
a lot of ways. So he's got a new place down just outside Tauranga. And while I was down there, I also dropped in on Mount Brewing and had a chat to Pavel, who they're the head brewer there. And
yep,
so we've got a couple of really interesting episodes there coming up. Mount celebrating their 30th anniversary.
yeah.
30
30.
years.
Yeah, yeah. We'll save that for another
Um,
episode because there's some good
but yeah, we'll
stories
talk
there.
all
Yeah,
about that in
yeah.
when we introduce the Mount episode. So yeah, a couple of really interesting things coming up there, and we've got ideas for the rest of the year. But we are keen to hear from you, the listeners. What are the things that we should be talking about? Who
Yeah,
would you like us to interview? What would you like us to talk about? I'm really keen to get feedback either via our socials, via comments on the podcast,
yep.
or emails to Michael or myself. Please let us know what you want to hear about, and we will try and make it happen.
We will. On that note, you'll find me at michael at hoppiness.co.nz and Martin, you're at.
Martin.bridges at beerbigwig.com.
There you go. Hey, thanks again for tuning in, people. And yeah, we'll catch you probably in a couple of weeks for the second episode of season 2 of the Third Pint Theory.